Today we're going to talk about one length irons, and I'm sure a lot of you out there are really curious to know whether these irons might help you play better than you would with your current irons. Now, not all of us get the chance to try out the one length irons like I'm doing today, so I really hope this helps. We all know it has helped Bryson DeChambeau. He's had massive success with one length irons, and it's a huge factor really in the growth of the whole one length area. But would it work for the average golfer? Well, I consider myself to be exactly that at the moment, and that's average. So let's have a look, shall we? Now, if you're not familiar, first of all, with the concept of one length irons, we've done a lot of videos now covering it, which we'll link to in the description. But essentially, the concept is that all the irons in the set are exactly the same length, and that's that of a 7-iron. Now, if you compare my normal irons to one length irons sitting down here on the mat like this, you begin to get the picture. Now, you could say to me, what if I chop down all my current irons to be the same length? Isn't that the same thing? Well, that is a very interesting question, because this is where one length irons are very cool. Not only are the shafts all the same length, but the lie angles, or in layman's terms, the way they sit at address, are all exactly the same too. And the club heads themselves, they're actually weighted totally differently to normal club heads to keep the overall swing weights the same throughout the set. And the reason for all of this is that for every single shot you swing exactly the same. Now, Bryson DeChambeau, he's built his game all around consistency. He believes that whether you stand up to and swing a 5-iron or a wedge like this, you swing exactly the same way, and then you'll have more consistent results. Now, if I jump over to my current irons for a minute, I'll take a long iron for instance. I'm always trying to address it pushed more forward in my stance. But if I switch to my wedge, I'm always trying to play that more back in my stance. And how many times do you go to your PGA professional for a lesson and you say, look, I'm not hitting my 5-iron well at the moment, I need a bit of help? Well, according to Bryson, that's never again going to be the issue if every club is the same length and we hit it with the same swing every time. Now, we all know that Bryson, of course, swings it a bit different to you and me. He has what's known as a single plane swing for starters, up and down on the same line. And of course, he's now bulked up so that he can marry his swing plane consistency with more speed and more power. But the fundamentals of what he's trying to achieve with one length should hold true for the average player with the average swing like me and hopefully you. Because for some of us, having the same address position, the same stance, the same posture, the same swing for every shot will work. The feels are the same for every shot. It's mentally easier. It's also easier to learn to repeat the same thing every time out on the golf course. And that's the philosophy really that Bryson espouses. Consistency is better than erratic. I'm also particularly interested in the posture benefits. Now, I don't know about you, but my back is a train wreck, and I really feel that having the luxury of finding a nice strong posture at address and a swing that I can repeat every time with every club will help me greatly out on the golf course. Now, if there's one worry you might have about one length irons, it's that the 9-iron and the pitching wedge might be harder to control, the shaft in those being longer than normal. And yes, you are right, it feels weird at the start, but being able to swing exactly the same as with all the other clubs, I'm actually really comfortable really quickly just repeating and trusting the engineering. And what I didn't think of is, because the shaft is longer than normal in the short clubs, I can get more shaft deflection or whip into the swing, and I really feel I can get those up in the air and over trees, etc. pretty easily. And for nervy chips where I would have switched out my wedge for 7-iron to hit a kind of bunty shot with one length, I feel that's not necessary. Just stick with the wedge, the feels are exactly the same, and the shot becomes much easier. The biggest surprise for me I felt in practicing with one length irons has to be how easy it is now to hit long irons. The 5-iron at address, for instance, now feels really manageable. Like, hitting these is much easier than before, and the way the heads are weighted means they go the same distance. It's incredible. They go the same distance as normal long irons, and I can see straight away that that is where the consistency of swing really has huge benefits. And when I went and checked Bryson DeChambeau's 2020 season stats, I can see that he's one of the best iron players on tour from 175 yards and further out. and I'm not at all surprised. So that's the whole one length concept in a nutshell. Be sure again to check out our other one length review videos on Golf Bitter, and if you think you'll benefit from being able to have the same posture, same address, same swing, same mental fields for every shot, to repeat and get more consistent like Bryson DeChambeau, you should really give these one length irons a go. They could change your whole enjoyment of the game, and wouldn't that be great? Now, if you enjoy this video, please do press like and subscribe to the Golf Bitter YouTube channel, and follow us across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to keep up to date with the very latest. From me for now though, it's Donal, out.